Alright, what is up, viewers? Spang here, bringing you an ASQ. That is answering subscriber questions. Every now and again I kind of forget what that acronym means, but it's not that I forget, it's that I just get a little bit messed up in my mind. You know, I get a little ahead of myself. I apologize for the delay with this ASQ. It is ASQ number 9. And I like to have these come out in the middle of the month. You should be seeing this around Thanksgiving time. There were a few things, as you can tell. I recently moved, and there were other delays as well. But I won't really get into that. I want to just get right down to business, and that is going to be answering your subscriber questions from the last video. This video being uploaded actually does mean any questions submitted to previous ASQs probably won't get attention. At least I won't be looking for them. So if you want your questions answered, remember to always submit them to the latest ASQ video, and there is a playlist. It should be under Spang in real life or something like that. But without further ado and delay, let's get on to answering questions. So the first question is, do I have any tips or advice for the ASVABs? So the ASVABs are the military aptitude test that you take before you go in. It helps the military determine what job you're best going to be suited for, or what jobs you're actually eligible for, is a better way of terming it. And it's a kind of high school equivalent. It's really only, it's no super advanced concept, so if you have any sort of college education, it's going to help you. And another thing to keep in mind is know what jobs you want in the military. Look at your ASVAB scores you need to get those jobs, and study appropriately. I mean, that's really the best advice I can give, is prepare yourself, study the material you need to do well on the sections you need to do well on, but there's nothing wrong with doing well on all the sections. Not everything is book smart stuff. There is some odd one shop, you know, things you won't necessarily learn in a classroom, at least not in core required classes. But, you know, I think just study up on what you need to do well on. Yeah, that's the best advice I can give. And like I said, if you want to go to college beforehand, before joining the military, definitely do it. Do ROTC, maybe. I don't think ROTC students take the ASVAB, and I don't know that because I didn't do ROTC. For those of you who know a little bit about my history, I went to the Air Force Academy for a short time before life kind of got in the way and caused me to have to go enlisted, but that's a story for neither here nor there. Now, next question, do I plan on playing World of Tank Blitz? Not really. I mean, to be completely honest, I don't really have, my spare time as it is kind of taken up, and I rather spend whatever time I am playing World of Tanks, playing the PC version of World of Tanks. I probably won't be on it on my phone too much, and besides, I only have an Android, a Droid Max is what I have. I don't have a tablet or anything to really play it on. So it's one of those things of, due to hardware limitations and time limitations, probably not. Optional. Please define leadership in my own words. The best thing I can use to define good leadership, because you can refer to leadership as just someone being in charge, but good leadership is when you care more about your people's well-being than you care about your own career. And so basically putting others before yourself is good leadership. Keeping their needs and it's always got to come in terms of the mission, of course. You always have to get the mission done, but you want to take care of your people the best you can while you do it. So that is my definition of leadership. Next question is, Am I a Star Trek fan? And the answer to that is yes. I blame my mother for that because that was our show growing up. Her and I always used to sit down and watch it together. And I was a Next Gen guy. I never could get into the original series. I like Star Trek The Next Generation, and I got into Voyager on my own. So I'm not a huge Trekker or Trekkie, whatever you want to use for a term. I don't look into it all that much. I don't spend a lot of time or money, you know, getting myself that deeply involved, but do I watch the show when it's on TV? Yeah. So I'm not a huge, I like the series, but I'm not a fanboy of the series. I'm not part of the fandom, is what I guess I'm saying. And was my mom apprehensive about joining the military? If so, how did I show her that it was a good idea? The answer is yes, my mom was apprehensive, not because she was so scared about my life being in danger, which is a little bit of an odd thing to say because I'm in the Air Force. The Air Force is usually not in the direct line of fire except for a few select jobs within the Air Force. But her main concern was that I was kind of in my own fantasy world. She thought growing up playing video games, I had this unrealistic expectation of what the military was, of what I was actually doing. And I just talked to her about it. You know, that's the best thing you can do with your parents if they're concerned, is just to sit down and have an open discussion with them and try to explain it to the best of your capability. If you have a recruiter, maybe have your parents talk to your recruiter and have your recruiter answer some of the questions that you can. And with my mother, it was just doing my best to explain where I was coming from, why I wanted to join, what it meant to me, and answering any questions she had. So it was an open discussion, and eventually we got to the point where she was completely behind me, 100% supporting my decision to join. And the next question is kind of a long one, but if I had to sum it up, it's basically along the lines of what do I think of the new light tanks introduced to the game? What do I think of the nerfs that they recently added to, like, the Hellcat, the KV-85 replacing the KV-1S, and the FV-304? So from talking with my buddies in the game and from my own personal observations and experiences, the new light tanks, are they overpowered? There is a pretty big consensus that yes, they are overpowered. They tend to put out a lot of DPM, they're really mobile, and they just seem to be doing very well, especially in the hands of a capable player. So they might need a nerf in order to be fair and balanced. Will that nerf come? I don't know. Do people want to see a nerf come to it? Probably not. I mean, I don't see too many people getting all that frustrated with the light tanks. They get annoyed with them, but getting enraged or extremely upset by it, not so much. And I think that comes from the fact that light tanks, you can penetrate them. You can get through their armor like it's nothing, because it is nothing. So people can hurt them and they can kill them, so I think it's not that big of a perceived threat to them. But as far as the changes to the KV-85, I still see a lot of people playing the KV-85 that replaced the KV-1S. And so that indicates to me that it's pretty good. I sold mine. I never really wanted to keep it around. I was looking for an excuse to transfer my crew. The Hellcat, on the other hand, I have heard a lot of people have sold theirs because it is a shell of its former self. It is just really not even worth the effort to play anymore. I still see them being driven around, and I still see some people hanging on to them, even my friends, and they say, yeah, it's fun, but you can't play it like you used to. You certainly got to play it more like a standard tank destroyer now. And that had a lot of people upset. The FV-304, from what I've seen and what I've heard, it still performs more or less the same. The nerfs that hit that vehicle really haven't affected its performance at all. So overall, definitely a lot of good questions here. And so in the future, if you guys want to submit me any questions, this video, comment section below. Anything from my personal life, my military life, my interests, hobbies, what I'm doing with my YouTube channel, what I'm doing in the games, you know, anything about World of Tanks, anything about my clan, anything about future plans, whatever, all is fair game. And if I can't answer it for one reason or another, I will still address it in the next video. And keep in mind, like I said at the beginning, after the next video comes out, questions to this one probably won't be seen. So keep that in mind. And until next time, this has been Spang, and I am signing off.